Okay. Okay. Welcome again after this fantastic 3-minute competition. I'm Silvia Bianconcini. I'm the delegate for Europa under the Vice Rectorship for International Relations at the University of Bologna, and I'm very glad and honored to moderate this open session on how to handle social responsibility within European alliances. This open session is regularly organized by the Coimbra Group every year in its annual meeting or General Assembly, and gives the possibility to promote best practices, foster collaboration and exchanges between alliances, and reach a wider public. We have 8 representatives of 8 different alliances of Coimbra Group universities, and also we have the honor and pleasure to see also the point of view of the European Commission with Dr. Susan Cons, that is the head of the unit of higher education in the Directorate General for Education, Culture, Youth and Sport in the European Commission. So I will start and leave the floor to Eva Berenkova from Charles University for EU+.
Thank you. I hope you won't be so disappointed after all this wonderful presentation. I have also 3 minutes, so I will do my best. So let me tell you a few words about our 4U Plus Alliance and our experience with synergizing educational research and the so-called third mission or third role of the universities, which means service to society. So at the very beginning of our 4U Plus Alliance, we established 4 so-called flagship initiatives, and I would like to present to you the flagship 1, which focuses on urban health and demographic change, covering subtopics such as migration and health. And I would like to give you a brief glimpse into some of the ongoing initiatives. So as part of the Sustainable Development Goals, students from across 4U Plus universities are now encouraged to participate in the Global Health Solutions Case Challenge in Copenhagen. You can see it above. And this year's theme is, quote, caught in the crossfire managing chronic disease in war zones. On the topic of migration, health and equity, the Alliance launched a MOOC, which means Massive Open Online Course, that is very popular among our students across 4U Plus Alliance. For PhD students, we have organized a workshop on multidisciplinary perspective on disability towards an inclusive European society. And building on this experience, an Erasmus Plus BIP, blended intensive program titled Making Disability into a Resource, is now being opened. At the undergraduate level, the Alliance has launched a joint program on migration and new societies, and it equips students with a quite deep understanding of the social and political dimensions of migration, both global and intra-EU. Then, through internal funding schemes, we also supported the 4U Plus Global Health Project, which brings together global health institutes and initiatives from across our universities. And this is a very well-organized and enthusiastic group of researchers, academics, PhD students, and so on, that collaborates on shared topics and engages in dialogue with institutions like World Health Organization, and fostering stronger links between academic and non-academic sectors. So in general, I would like to say that the 4U Plus Alliance creates quite strong synergies between research and education by involving students and academics in these joint interdisciplinary projects on real-world issues like health and migration, and collaborating with partners such as the World Health Organization connects learning with practice, enhancing teaching and supporting universities' societal role. As long as the key challenges are I would like to mention some key challenges, which are, of course, the administrative coordination. We have 8 member universities, which is not so easy sometimes, and long-term sustainability. We don't know how the money will be and what the money will be in several years. And finally, I would like to invite you. We have this event called For You Plus Migration and Health Days taking place next week in Prague at Charles University. And we would like to continue this For You Plus journey to address pressing societal challenges and related to health and well-being. So if you can participate, you are very welcome to Prague. Was it 3 minutes or? Fantastic. Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic, Eva. Next speaker is Arthur Smith from University of Granada as representative of Arqus.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to present how we deal with social responsibility at the Arqus Alliance. The Arqus Alliance is an alliance of 9 members. 4 of them, as you can see on the screen, are members of the Coimbra Group, and one of our associate members is also a member of the group, so we're fully embedded in the network here. So just one word about our mission and vision. You can see that social responsibility is completely embedded also in our mission. And if you look at the fragments, the text that I had on the screen, you can see that we have sentences like excellence for and with all. We have education, not leaving no one behind. So actually what we're doing here is what we have heard this morning by Professor Kumkum. We are working in an intentional, we'll be working on intentional inclusive excellence. Okay, let's come to the example that I would like to show you. I will mention 2 of them. One is an individual support for students, and the other is let's more on a collective way, so how we deal with it. The first example is our Arqus Talent Scholarship Funds. There were 3 calls, and we received more than 1,200 applications. And in this call, priority was given to students with few opportunities, not only refugees and asylum seekers, but also students with care obligations and responsibilities, disabilities, or chronic illnesses, so on a broader scale. Then there was a specific special needs allowance, so they get 250 euros extra for the situation, and each call, at least one scholarship was given to students in this situation. The second example is the Arqus Innovation Fund, and it provides funding for top-down and bottom-up initiative in the network, in our alliance. So the working group can propose initiatives, and of course the professors and the students can propose as well. There were 4 calls and 56 initiatives received selected, and we allocated 0.2 million to that. 2 examples of what was selected. One was, for example, a program as Arqus, an alliance supporting refugees' rights to qualified and unique study. This is basically an awareness-raising program, and the idea is to foster the dialogue about the situation of refugees within our universities. Of course, if you want more details, I can give them you later. Here's not enough time to do that. And the second one is a project called Driving Social Innovation with AI-powered challenge-based learning. It's a bottom-up initiative, and the goal is to place social responsibility at the center of learning. How is it done? There is a training program for educators how to use artificial intelligence for addressing real community challenges and doing service learning. Okay, so a very short summary about the challenges and the impact. The challenges, of course, the different institutional culture that we have heard, the different understanding and extent of social responsibilities at each university, the equilibrium between academic freedom and addressing social needs, financial constraints always present, and sometimes lack of flexibility, and the impact, of course, on the beneficiaries on an individual and collective way. the direct beneficiaries of the grants, and of course the beneficiaries of the training, awareness raising activities, etc. And impact on institutional level, like sharing good practices, promoting our shared values, that are the core of the European identity, and all the awareness raising we are doing within the network and becoming present as an actor in this very important endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Arthur. Now it's time for Meritxell Chavez from University of Barcelona as representative of CHARM EU.
Thank you. After these 3 minutes thesis, this is a challenge, really, but I will try. As in other occasions, our best example of best practices are our students. So I have collected some of many challenges that the external stakeholders provide CHARM for the master thesis of the students. And these master theses are addressed by teams of multidisciplinary and international students. Okay, so some of them have local impact, some others have global impact. So, and why this? Because social responsibility is one of the core, the 8 core values of CHARM EU. This is embedded in the educational programs that we do, it's the commitment is very important. It's part of the admission process. So we look for the commitment of the students. And we are perceived more and more as using these values, and this attracts more and more stakeholders to bring us challenge for the students. And I have 2 examples that are not listed. One is from an agrarian park, and the challenge was how to reduce agricultural plastic waste. This park also assesses other farmers in the zone, so they create a circular solution package composed with 3 elements: a policy brief for politicians, to policymakers, a recommendation for how to manage the park better, but also a booklet with technical guidelines for farmers and technicians. So the impact is not only in this. And the other example, completely different, is from a private company, Coimbra Group, that dedicates to bathroom products, that faces the challenge to integrate sustainability in the daily practices of the employers. So the team came up with a toolkit for employers that integrates behavioral change training, governance, operational practices, and community engagement that empower employees and leadership together to driving meaningful and measurable sustainability actions that can be done in the. They were really impressed of the level of the students, but not the academic level also, but the commitment of these students, and one stay on the company, one of these in this picture. So these are 2 examples of many that are part of our core business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Meritxell. Now it's time for Alessio Cavicchi from the University of Pisa and is a representative of Cycle U.
So thank you. Well, I'm Director's Delegate for the promotion of entrepreneurial culture and social innovation, and I'm in charge of the Work Package 5 within our alliance that is called Strengthening Societal Engagement. We have 2 universities here that are Arqus and UC Leuven, and as you can see in the map, and we are working to have the societal engagement as a transversal topic for all the knowledge hub that you can see on the left. We have 4 different knowledge hubs, and for the different platforms that we are building. I would like to show you only one example that is something that you can find on the right. We are working during these days in Siena, very close to Siena, to this social innovation bootcamp in a real estate that was confiscated to the mafia some years ago. it was discovered that it was part of this criminal network in 1981, and only in 2019 it became part of the estates of the regional government. We had already the chance 3 times to bring our students there, PhD students at local level in Tuscany, then national level, and now we are working with Circle U Alliance with 30 students, master students, and they are providing their ideas in order to increase the level of interest also for the local community about the importance of this symbolic place. Why is it important for us? Because it's a sort of a symbolic place and event that can be replicated in different contexts. It's a shame, it's a pity when you listen local communities saying that it was better with the mafia because they had a job, and now that is in the hands of regional governments, it doesn't work. So we need to have a civic university, we need to have a civic approach that can involve all the universities' alliances. And on the other side, what we try to do through the incubator program is to provide these students, once they have these challenge-based, location-based learning activities, with money, seed funding to start their activities in those places. Last point I would like to say is that we have tried to analyze all the smart specialization strategies in the regions where our universities are embedded, and we discovered that we have some common priorities that could be developed. So our attempts, our trials could be not only based on pure exercise, didactic exercise, teaching exercise, but there could be really some options to be addressed to local stakeholders, because in every regions, in the cohesion policy of every region, maybe we have some common elements that we can address if we work all together. Thank you.
Time to move on with other 4 alliances. Thank you so much. So next speaker will be Ludovic Tilly from the Poitiers University and the representative of EC2+. To you.
Thank you very much. I don't know if we will have the time counter, but let's hope. That would have been a challenge. So, yeah, indeed, in short, so EC2U, which stands, by the way, for European Campus of City Universities. So it's composed of 10 universities, one being the University of Lviv in Ukraine, and you will see a bit later that this matters a lot in what I'm going to present. We are centered around 4 SDGs, the SDG on good health and well-being, the one on quality education, the one on sustainable cities and communities, and the one that has been introduced in the new funding cycle, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. Well, of course, we have a lot of our activities that have a very strong connection with the social dimension, just by saying first that all our municipalities are formal associated partners to the Alliance. So that means that indeed all the activities are really made in connection with the local policymakers. But I want here to focus on one of the flagship initiatives, which are called the EC2U think tanks. Basically, the think tanks are places that we organize regularly, locally first, where we meet in the same room, we gather in the same room, of course, people from the academic community, students, staff, researchers, teachers, administrative staff, but also with citizens, journalists, policymakers, actually everyone who is interested in the topic of the think tank. So we first run these local initiatives at all partner universities, and then once we have collected all the feedback, we gather all of this, and we have another think tank, which is this one at the level of the Alliance during what we call the EC2U Forum. This is something that we had piloted during the very first 3 years, and it was very successful, not only, let's say, in the way we could engage with all the communities, but also in providing policy recommendations. So up to now, we have run 5 EC2U think tanks since 2021. The very first one was basically to start with the very basics, which was to build a value-based community. So we have surveyed the whole alliance in what is for citizens, for community people, what this means for them, the values in Europe. The second one was on circular economy, and in particular, a particular point on the key to sustainability and change. The third one was on social innovation in times of crisis. And actually, by the way, you see that the topics are really somehow aligned with the way our world is changing. The fourth one was on social innovation for peace building, the one from last year, 2024, and the very recent one where we did the Alliance collection during the last forum 2 weeks ago in Coimbra was on building resilience to climate change within cities and communities. For each of them, we are extracting sets of EC2U policy recommendations that we want to spread around, disseminate, but the idea is really to transform them into actions. And I will actually exemplify how we turn this into actions with the particular case of the 2024 think tank, the one on social innovation for peace building, that was also organized in Lviv, and you can see that it resonates very strongly, because we should remember that when they organized the think tank, they were in a war zone, right? So basically, I want to exemplify the 4 of the recommendations that were extracted from this 2024 think tank. I will start with the 4th one, which is to collaborate with large European stakeholders to advocate for peace-building programs. And we had a plan to present the recommendations to, in particular, our associated partner, the Coimbra Group. And this is basically what I'm doing today. We also are engaged in the For You For All, the Alliance of Alliances, through the Ukraine topical group to also support our Ukrainian partners. And there are a lot of alliances who have a Ukrainian partner. The third, so I'm going counter-wise, the third one was to be in capacity to apply to European programs to be funded for joint European projects related to this social innovation for peace-building topic. And we have indeed submitted, but also we've been awarded Erasmus projects with Lviv also in the consortia. We also propose to establish specific training activities around that topic, and this is now under process with a new joint master program on peace building, on peace, justice, and strong institutions. And last but not least, the idea was to also organize concrete EC2U events and activities on that topic, and one of them is actually pictured here. We are now organizing a solidarity convoy that will go from Linz to Lviv to actually bring support material for citizens and for our partner university. And I will stop here.
It's now time for Jacqueline Scherpen from the University of Groningen as a representative of the ENLIGHT Alliance.
Okay, thank you. We're ENLIGHT is a university alliance to promote equitable quality of life, sustainability, and global engagement through higher education transformation, and brings together 10 research-intensive universities, which is Bilbao, Bern, Bordeaux, Bratislava, Galway, Ghent, Göttingen, Groningen, Tartu, and Uppsala. In this consortium, last week we had a meeting. So in the meeting the mid-year meeting was in Bordeaux, and we had a discussion on impact and our social responsibility. And there was a lot of discussion, many very engaging discussions also about degree programs, etc. That's a discussion that is a bit separate from this. But what ENLIGHT does, and that is something I would like to bring forward, is organize on a yearly basis an impact conference. And we had the impact conference in Groningen just a few months ago. And it was a very successful conference. Everybody was very much engaged. So all of the partners were there with many people. And in addition, in total, we had 54 different knowledge institutions who came to the conference because they want to learn about the impact and bringing more impact to society and feeling our social responsibility. And one thing that is discussed there is, of course, we have the triple helix, which is knowledge institution, governments, and our environmental institutions, including industry. But there was a fourth element, which was the transnational collaboration, which was considered to be is considered to be a very important part. And for that, we need also the transnational part, of course, the mobility, and learn from each other and learn from each other's regions. And so that's where a lot of discussion took place. Of course, some of the challenges are also insufficient impact awareness. And so some of the workshops, we had a few, in between brackets, doctors, who actually entered and said, how can we repair your institution to help you be more impactful and be more works on social responsible themes, also with your environment. And some of the themes that we are working on is on climate change, sustainability, healthy aging, digital developments and AI, and social resilience. These are the main themes that are working through ENLIGHT, and we're working very hard to increase also the mobility of our students and the mobility of our researchers. And for that's how you bring in, for example, this transnational component, and also, of course, just across borders, you can work on similar projects and joint projects together on some of these societal challenges. And some of these projects have been worked out further, but let's say on the yearly impact conference, we focus on what institutions themselves can do. And we also had an award, we have the Impact Award. And in the last year, the Impact Award was won by a STEM initiative. And in that STEM initiative from the University of Galway, where we learned a lot actually from how they approached it. So they are not only having STEM people themselves increasing the awareness, widening the participation in STEM with science outreach. They did not only have STEM people there, but they actually took the interdisciplinarity into account. So the social sciences were on board, as well as the pedagogical sciences. And together, they were very successful, because they have reached more than 2,500 scholars in order to, and they got them engaged, and more than half of them really got engaged into STEM courses. And so this was really a big success, and so that's why they got this prize, and every year we have other prizes, but and this initiative is now on the table also to be taken on by all the other institutions. So I think that's the main story I have about our impact conference. Despite apart from the fact that I think it's very important that we all work together along the across the lines of our institutions to increase the mobility, and also to increase the mobility of our students and of the researchers within Europe, and so that we can really foster these transnational collaborations and learn from each other, because I think that's the most important part of that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Now it's time for Christina Biel from University of Cologne and the representative of EUniWell.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm representing EUniWell today. We are a consortium of 11 universities. And the core mission of EUniWell is to understand, improve, measure, and rebalance the well-being of individuals, our community, and society as a whole. Well-being has many dimensions, from individual quality of life to social cohesion to environmental balance at planetary level, as well as the relationship and interplay within these dimensions. And our five thematic areas: health, social equality, environmental change, multilingualism, and teacher education, allow the Alliance to tackle the topic from multiple and multicultural perspectives, building on the different strengths and expertise of our members to impact on society and to contribute to solving the grand societal challenges. We expect EUniWell to be an important player in promoting a more equal higher education system, and one in which societal impact, to take one example, is measured not only by the capacity to market knowledge through patents or startups, but according to students' competences, their educational processes, and their understanding of the rights and duties of citizenship. Thus, the focus on the topic of well-being in a holistic understanding is all about social responsibility. Individual well-being cannot be achieved in isolation, but depends on overall social and environmental well-being, ranging from local to global scale. It depends on social freedom, social security, economic stability, and on an overall intact and sustainable environment. So EUniWell is trying to co-creating initiatives that brings together student researchers, teachers, staff with public authorities such as mayors, hospitals, schools, businesses, wider community organizations, and such as NGOs, for example. Now I've picked up very briefly now 3 topics where we have this social responsibility in a more concrete form. And the first one we choose was the teacher education program, where we focus on teachers as very important multipliers who teach the next generation of citizens in taking responsibility for their societies and their environment. We have set up a teacher training academy, TAF, where we develop with our partners within the European Alliance and beyond innovative formats to prepare future teachers with key competencies to manage this very very important task to teach future students. And we are not only doing this Europe-wide, but we did go beyond that and started a collaboration with Teacher College, Columbia University. And we just met 2 months ago and are planning a conference at the United Nations in New York in 2025. And we feel that having the formation of future teachers has a very high social responsibility, but also a very high social impact. And on a micro level on that, we have also a student ambassador program where we send our students to schools being role models for future generations. Another example is the civic engagement program. We do annual service learning projects with and for our students with nonprofit organizations such as the Climate Cooperation Initiative, the Wildlife Conservatory, Station Linny in Sweden, and Amnesty International. And there we combine learning with volunteering and social engagement for our students. And last but not least, another example is the open science question. We successfully implemented an open science center at the University of Cologne. This came out of our collaboration within the Alliance, and is now a good example for international cooperation within locally, but also within the Alliance, and which we think will have a huge institutional as well as social impact. So having said that, our challenges, of course, are manifold, but one is probably the implementation of successful pilot projects and planting them into sustainable offers in our universities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And last but not least, Soledad Garcia Ferrari from the University of Edinburgh in representation of Europa.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if this is working a little bit. So thank you. I'm the representative of the University of Edinburgh at the EUropa Board of Directors. This is an alliance of 11 universities. You can see the logos maybe there at the bottom of the screen. In terms of social responsibility, the biggest commitment of EUropa is related with the co-designing of the University of the Future. So our real core aim is to think how the University of the Future will serve society, both in relation to enabling knowledge, development, but also in the ways in which we can empower the next generation with the skills and abilities that are needed to confront this future world. So we need to understand what is the role of universities in our society and how we can continue to provide meaning through a university environment to serve societal needs. But we cannot do this alone. I think this is the key aspect of our presentation here. We need to tackle these challenges not just thinking about Europe, but thinking well beyond Europe, particularly working with partners in many regions of the world where have different levels of vulnerability when confronting these challenges. And we need to work with these partners to enable collective thinking around the necessary changes for the future. But supporting a true partnership will need continued evaluation. It's not just about coming together and thinking together once and signing an agreement. We really need to reframe shared objectives. We need to continue thinking about what we want and what we can do together. So the initiative that I would like to share is the vision and the roadmap that we have designed within EUropa together with our partners in Africa to work to look into our diverse capacities and approaches to these potential future challenges, and also to the role of universities in society, and try to think how we can provide the sort of links to enable this to the kind of local context within each of these universities. So really much demonstrating that we are better together than individually. So each of the UNA universities had different levels of engagement in this, with this initiative, all providing their own expertise and connections within the region. But the basics of the roadmap, and I will go into a very specific example in a moment within the roadmap, were to include diversity and the diversity of language groups, look into a focus in excellence, but also a sort of two-way collaboration and enabling mobility between people that could lead to broadening our horizons and in terms of understanding society across different cultures. And then work towards sustainability. Sustainability was a key aspect of this partnership, and understand how we can develop this cross-region sustainable network of universities that will connect different parts of Europe and Africa to pilot very concrete initiatives. And these initiatives were needed to be co-developed and co-implemented. We had a focus on sustainability, as I said, but also on early career researchers and PhD training, because we felt that this network of universities across the two regions could be of great added value to our kind of younger generations. And we needed to include the frameworks that would enable flexibility. So we worked with hybrid and virtual mobility programs. So these tangible actions, a key activity within the roadmap was the EUropa Virtual Exchange Program, the EUnaVEX. And this is a virtual facilitator for training at the ECR level, at the early career researchers level. It was funded, so after this roadmap was developed and the collaboration and ongoing discussion with partners in Africa where took place, we applied for Erasmus Plus for a 3-year 3-year funded project to provide 2,500 mobility students to enable this mobility within sustainability education. So we use another framework that we have within the Alliance, which is the micro-credential on sustainability, to enable the sort of ongoing education around sustainability for these 2,500 students. And this idea of increasing, scaling up mobility is very much a running objective for the Alliance. And we really want to equip students across the globe with high-quality sustainability education. We want to design this framework that could continue to grow. We want to train trainers as well as students, and we want to scale up the virtual exchange opportunities. A key commitment within this program, the UNAVEX, is the idea of the importance of looking at these challenges or issues that we need to deal in the future with a global ambition, but with very much a local engagement, place-specific and really societal specific ways of dealing and implementing any actions that need to be developed. So we really think about learners as co-creators within the micro-credential, and we want learners not just to consume education, but to truly engage with learning material. So looking at creating for learnings, instead of creating for learning, learners creating with learners. Interdisciplinary will be fundamental, and we're realizing that really crossing disciplinary boundaries is the only way to tackle these challenges. And building communities. So we really want to build learning experiences for the future that really depends on collaboration and engagement, both inside and outside the university. So in terms of challenges, I think a key challenge in these partnerships, particularly across groups of universities, is the continuation of questioning and evaluating the shared objectives and goals, and the connection to the specific conditions and impacts in place. So how do we understand the local conditions when we make decisions across our universities on how, on why, and how to collaborate? The other one is that not every region is the same. We have within EUNIWell a Latin America group as well, which is following a similar pathway in terms of engaging with universities across the region and trying to come up with a roadmap and a vision. But it's not the same. It's not just applicable from one region to another. It has to be contextualized and it has to be recontextualized. So these collaborations should be monitored and reevaluated and reformulated to adapt to these specific conditions. But I think the most important message here is to avoid the obsession with finding simple solutions. I hate that. We need to embrace complexity. We need complex solutions for all these challenges which we are dealing with, and we need to train our students to embrace complexity and to seek for diversity in the kind of knowledge plurality. So not just knowledge that emerges from our universities, but also knowledges that emerge from these local contexts. So we can't address the sort of future by further specializing and finding very small initiatives that are disconnected. So we need to recognize, embrace, and cultivate a wider range of voices that are external to the environment of universities. So in a future world is going to be mechanized, maybe by artificial intelligence, where we're going to have the sort of fusion of technologies that will blur the lines between the physical, the digital, the biological spheres. To be human, we will need to be more than knowledge and economics. We will need to think about being creative, being adaptive, being innovative, and being connected. And for these, universities will need to create an environment that develops the kind of alternative attributes to deal with complexity and with uncertainty. And we really need to embrace the sort of ambiguity that these graduates will face as they come out of our universities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sol, as well. And as Jacqueline was saying, I think that sessions like this one that allows or foster exchanges between alliances are very helpful to see the heterogeneous and wide set of initiatives that the different universities have dealt with social responsibility within their alliances, but also the common challenges that they are facing. As Christine was saying before, we are different universities, and this diversity is our treasure. But also this brings a different national regulation, different administrative procedure, and I think, and I'm a stronger believer, that the alliances are very fantastic test bed to overcome these challenges and enhance a truly cross-border collaboration among European universities. So it's now time to bring the discussion to the European level. So I'm very glad to have here Dr. Susan Conz, that is the head of the unit of higher education, with us. So the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, and thanks, of course, first of all, to all the speakers before. And it's a bit difficult to come now with a kind of a more boring speech of the Commission afterwards. Oh yeah, we put it simply here. That's a good. Okay. So thanks to all the speakers before. It is really difficult now to come with a boring Commission speech, and I will try to make it short and not that boring. When coming here and being asked to give a comment after these presentations without knowing the presentations before, I was wondering, okay, how do I go about it? And what is the point where I would address, on which way would I address social responsibility of university alliances? What are the points which are important, let's say, from a more Commission type of agenda? And actually all the points I had on my notes were mentioned in the different presentations, to different aspects and in a very interesting also variety. And I think the key point, and that was also in the background paper to this session, was that social responsibility is so wide, has so many facets, that there is not an easy answer to it. There's not an easy definition, and also certainly not for us from a Brussels perspective, let's say. So for me, the 3 points I noted down before I came was, on the one hand, social inclusion. And that meant, of course, reaching out as universities to groups who are not coming from academic background, student groups, or possible students who have more difficulties to enter university for different reasons, be it economic, be it cultural reasons, be it social and family reasons. So I think there's really a key point where universities need to do more, and that is also something we are discussing in the context of the Union of Skills, simply because we need more educated people in our continent, and we need more highly educated people to work on all the different challenges and problems we have. And that will not work if we do not reach out to broader groups in society. This is certainly one point, but of course it has also another aspect, and this aspect is also widening the approach to how we are going to study, how we are going to learn, and what type of offer universities make. And there was already the mentioning of micro-credentials, there was already the mentioning, and that is a key point in this context as well, as reaching out to the community, offering all kinds of different cooperations with the community, which have on the one hand, of course, the aspect of concretely and efficiently helping communities, like in, as it was mentioned, social boot camps, but also reaching out to a better understanding of science, reaching out to also bringing it closer to people and making the link closer, and seeing what is at the moment ongoing in different parts of the world. I think this is becoming more and more a mission we need to follow. And in that context, also congratulations to the 3-minute theses, which I found absolutely amazing. The other point I noted, of course, was very obvious, sustainability, which we have also heard now, lots of projects and initiatives on sustainability, and which are key for us and key in the Commission program. Really, yeah, as we have no alternative, to put it bluntly. There is no other option than trying to be more sustainable and to address climate change. And also there are lots of projects and interesting things going on, and they are extremely valuable. Reaching out to community was the third one I had in mind when I thought about the topic, and also this we have seen now in different presentations. What really, in the end, listening to all of you, triggered me was really the thinking as it is a wide, broad range of topics, it's a wide, broad range of tasks, it's a wide, broad range of addressing it. It has different approaches depending where you are as a university or as an alliance, which partners you have, what the contexts are, what your strengths in the alliances are, and you take different approaches to it. But what it all comes also strongly down to, and that was in the last presentation very, very clearly formulated, is the question, what roles do universities have in future and how are they going to change? And I think that is something in all the discussions we are having on widening access to education, looking at sustainability, looking at different forms of learning, innovative forms of learning. We are always little bit coming back to this question, what is the role of universities in future and how can universities help to address the challenges we face as societies? And I think that is really a super interesting debate in this context. And from our side, we are absolutely happy to follow up on this discussion on social responsibility, but also on the broader context with the alliances and with the universities overall to really see how we can get along there. So thank you very much.
Okay, so. Okay, back to Correct. So we have time for a few questions from the audience, from the speakers. There?
Yes, thank you. My name is Britt Dahmen from the University of Cologne, and my question would be, how do all your great activities to social responsibility correspond to EDI policies for the alliances themselves? How do you fight against inequality, social responsibility within your universities? Do you have something like an EDI policy for the representation of marginalized groups, for example, to engage students, PhD students, or scientists within your alliances? This is my question.
Thank you very much. Reaction from the floor, from the speakers? You can come here if you want. Okay. Okay. You were going to... Marichal?
Okay. In our case, we have a joint diversity, equity, and inclusion office composed by people that is working in each university in this matter. And we are especially careful in the educational programs to encourage and help to ensure diversity in the classroom. So we have an inclusivity plan. Now we are going to extend this to research too. So this is how are we working. And they are there for advice, for any issue that they can do. We change the plans that where we assign the students if there is any matter that affects them. So I think we won the Zero Project Prize, so one of the awards, so we are proud of it.
So I think, but I'm not speaking for, I cannot speak for all, but I'm pretty sure that almost all alliances have attention for this. And so there's working groups, at least in our alliance, and I think most of them have that attention. And if I cannot speak about all the individual universities, but most of them have programs, and I know for us we have this, we have an officer, and there's a network, a European network of these type of officers.
To bring another dimension to your question, in the case of EC2U, we have a decision-making body which is called the Executive Committee, where each university has 3 representatives, an academics, a staff, a staff, yes, and a student. And they have the equal vote, which means that the voice of the student is equivalent to each other profiles.
Yeah, maybe, I guess, because all the alliances have the students in there, so at least in ENLIGHT we have a very, very active student body as well.
Yeah, with regard to the student body, we have also.
Oh, there's another one.
There's another one. Yeah, with regard to student bodies, we have a very active student body who's really doing an active role in addressing all these issues and also being part of the meetings with executive committees. And so I would definitely say this is really a topic in our alliance.
I think we have the same, obviously, but I think it's important to try to see how much more exposure there is within these student communities and staff communities and academic communities to other ways of thinking and other ways of confronting questions and reflecting over the kind of themes that we are dealing with. And I think there is where we can be a bit better. And we can be more precise about making those connections. So we have excellent partnerships within these alliances that can be more open and enable more exposure to these diverse realities and knowledges.
Okay. Any other speaker is okay? We have time for very tiny question. No one? Okay, so thank you very much for being here. Thank you.